and the 23rd of January 2024, and all roads will be leading to Kampala, especially looking at NAM that has over 120 countries and the G77 that has over 130 countries. Also China will be here, but at the center of it all, we'll be discussing the economy in those summits, the twin summits that we're talking about in that season. But right now, I want to bring you updates on what's happening. What is KCCA doing? Today, we'll be focusing on KCCA. We'll be looking at the 5 divisions that are within the country here. The city center that is supposed to be the buzz of everything that will be happening in this country. What are they doing? Kampala City Council Authority. What are they doing? And I have a guest today who is the lead public relations officer or manager of the NAM and the G77 plus China in the KCCA task force. But on his daily, he's the manager of the research and the business analysis at Kampala City Council Authority there. Muhumza Daniel is with me today and will be putting perspective to the updates, but also the inconveniences that Kampala will be seeing, but also what opportunities shall we be receiving as a city or as the people that dwell in this city center. Daniel, it's good to have you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
It's very hilarious that you and I have been on phone for the last 2 years and finally meet.
More than two. About
yes.
4 years?
Yes. And we have been communicating and today we meet to discuss NAM.
True.
So, as the Kampala City Council Authority, I know you have come in just from the field trying to make things happen in different areas. Give us a quick update on what Kampala City Council Authority is doing and how it's involved in both NAM and the G77.
Well, first of all, it's Kampala Capital City Authority.
Yes.
The council, we left it.
Oh, sorry.
So it's now Kampala Capital City Authority. Listen, viewers, I bring you greetings from the KCCA fraternity, from the technical side, that is the executive director, Dr. Dorothy Chisaka, and the deputy engineer, David Ruyimbazi, who is also the chair of the task force to handle this assignment that was given to us by government to host the summits within Kampala.
Yes. And
we are on it. We are from the field. I'm from the field myself right now. We have had a long walk from Kabalagala to the Munyonyo roundabout, through Kansanga, through Soya, through Bunga, through Cape, up to the roundabout, about 10 kilometers. We have done that walk with the head of public service, Miss Lucina Chove, and I think she's glad about what is going on. We have a lot going on, and if you'll allow me, we can probably start from anywhere you want to start from.
Yeah, and I'm glad we want to be able to look at that, but let's start from where you've been.
Yes.
Biggest problem along that road, especially if you're talking about coming from Kabalagala, Kansanga, Soya, Bunga, all the way to Gaba, has been drainage.
Yes.
There's been a high volume of people there. You get to that roundabout, you take your left, your right, you're going down to Munyonyo. How have you dealt with the drainage and the infrastructure? Because that channel comes really far from the city center here. How have you dealt with it?
Well, even before now, as KCCA, we have had a number of programs to deal with drainage, to deal with development control, and other infrastructure developments within the city. So it is not per se, as anyone out there would say, that you see you're doing all this because of NAM. No. We are doing this, we have accelerated this. NAM has helped us accelerate, but it has been part of our core work. Now, one of the key aspects we have been working on and we are ensuring is development control. Now, development control includes everything that you see, the land use, how are we using the spaces. We have had people who have constructed irregularly. Someone has put up a building, but they make an extension into a road reserve or a walkway. Someone puts up a structure and right at the front they erect an advertising tool. Or from nowhere someone also puts up an advertising tool that is blocking the road. We have people who are trading irregularly, in irregular places. Someone comes up, especially this was at Kansanga, where we had a market that had eaten up half of the road.
Yes.
with vendors. Now this is dangerous. We found a danger with the vendors themselves and the people, the pedestrians, motorists, cyclists, we're all having a challenge there. Why? To the vendor, the merchandise has a likelihood of being trashed upon or trampled upon by vehicular traffic or by vehicles that are passing by. The pedestrians didn't have where to walk, so they would end up in the road. The risk of accidents was therefore high. So we have cleared up that space and availed space in markets. We have 16 markets as KCCA, and whoever is trading in an irregular place, is a vendor on the street, we have given them an opportunity to get into any one of the 16 markets that are run by KCCA. We have people who had put up kiosks along the road, especially Gaba Road, Munyonyo, then the other attributing roads, the secondary routes, or what we would call the shortcuts in there, that link Rukuri, that runs through from Makindye up to the roundabout at Munyonyo, and most of those roads are linked to the main Gaba Munyonyo road. All those, we had people who had put up kiosks. Someone welds a kiosk, puts it at the road, blocking the pedestrian walkways, blocking the traffic way, because the more you get it to the road, the more you push the pedestrian into the road, and any other services of the road are limited. So we had kiosks along those roads. Those ones we have removed, and we appeal to whoever is out there to trade in viable places that are within the law.
And I like what you've said, viable places.
Yes.
What does a viable place look like? What does KCCA really define as a viable place for someone to be able to trade? Because it seems like ignorance of the law is really...
Well, we have a regulating instrument, that is the Physical Planning Act. In the Physical Planning Act, we have properties that are designed or that are acceptable for commerce. And in some areas, we have spaces that are acceptable for commerce. Now, when you're seeking permission, building permission, you'll ask for a space where you're going to erect a commercial structure. A commercial structure, that is where we have shops, offices, grocery stores, and all that. And these have reserves. Since it's commercial, we even provide for parking as part of the approval process. Where are people going to park? Where are pedestrians going to pass? Are there, then that after getting the space usage, you go into the structure, which is controlled by the, regulated by the Building Control Act. Do you have toilets in the structure? Is it well ventilated? Those are part of the building. But the space use, if you're going to have a physical structure in there, it will either be a commercial or residential or mixed use. Now that is where the trading should take place. But there are areas where we also have vacant land that is temporarily developed for commerce, where people can put, say, temporary structures like containers, welded structures, but even these must fit within the confines of the law. Have you left sufficient road reserve? How are you dealing with the drainage? How are you dealing with the paving? How are you dealing with the parking? So that is the regularness of the areas of trade. Now, in there, we have people who put up structures that are UNISO. UNISO is like if you have a structure that is not yet complete and you are putting on a hoarding, you have put a hoarding, but the hoarding is very old. One, it can easily fall that is the mabati they put around the structure before it is complete. That hoarding can easily fall. Some people even build it very close to the walkway. And once the iron sheet rises, usually they're made of iron sheet,
Yes.
it can cut a pedestrian. Now that is a risk. Some of them are too old that when you look at them, they cause you pain. Then you say the city is ugly, yet it's someone else who has put up a shabby hoarding. Then we have buildings that are not painted. Yet the Physical Planning Act clearly tells you that you must keep your structure in a livable and in a beautiful state. Why? It is not just for KCCA to look beautiful, but also your tenants deserve a livable space, a space that can attract clients into it, a space that that they feel is their money's worth.
Let's come back, Daniel, to focus. You're spending a lot of money, as reading some of the monies that are coming towards KCCA, towards the infrastructure for NAM and G77. Is this infrastructure going to outlive NAM? Because now we're discussing we'll be discussing NAM, then we'll be discussing post. But will this infrastructure outlive NAM? And when you see it as KCCA, is it a viable project, especially in the southern end of this city that you're putting it into?
Well, we're coming to infrastructure development, but I believe, and I have the positive conviction, I have a very, very positive conviction that the works we're doing are going to serve us for a very, very long time. Probably for the next 15 to 20 years. These services are going, all these structures that we are putting up are going to help us. Let's look at drainage. We have had a challenge at Soyabunga that is coming from Kansanga into the valley and rising to Bunga, about 4 kilometers from the city center. We have had continuous flooding at that point.
Yes.
But the flooding at that point is not because of the menace at that point alone, but the effects of that, or the cause of that, is largely downstream and upstream. So we have cleared all the illegal developments. People had built along the channel, blocking the water from getting into the swamp that leads to Lake Victoria. So we are coming up, some of those pictures are the works that are taking place. This is, I think, today. This is part of what has been happening today. Now, if someone blocks the road, the drainage path, by putting up a structure, that water would backfill, causing a kind of a dam, because you're restricting its movement. Now, we have cleared that entire spot. We have engaged the communities there, the people who developed there irregularly and illegally, and they have moved out of there. So we have a clearance into the swamp that will filter and water will drain into Lake Victoria. But at this spot, as we speak, we have put 3 lines of culvert crossings, 4.5 diameter culvert, 4.5 meter diameter culvert crossings. And we have reinforced this with concrete, and the water flow there, if you look at the last rains that have come up, because in the last about 5 days we have had about 3.5 centimeters of rain. Now these 3.5 centimeters of rain ordinarily would flood that space, but now the water is moving smoothly. But we are going ahead to ensure that the sides or the banks of these drainages are worked upon. People had blocked the service lanes. We are also clearing the banks of the drainage to have, say, a 5-meter service lane where a grader can easily move to be sealed.
And before we get to desilting, at that point that you're talking about between Kansanga and Bunga, that valley itself, on the banks of it are people dealing in flowers and all those things. How have you managed to be able to deal with them, especially to appreciate what you're doing with the drainage there?
When the floods, when the water would get blocked downstream, it would flood and they would lose their plants. They would lose their beautiful flowers. Right now, the water passes through, and some of these are there irregularly. But we need jobs for people, and we need to coexist with the development. Development is for the people, and the people must coexist and maintain the infrastructure. So the people who are selling flowers have extended to leave space for walkway, to leave space for flowering, to leave space for motor vehicles.
How have you done that for them to appreciate the work you're doing, so that they don't wait for Daniel to come back to be able to distill or be part, so that they're part of this system, the ecosystem is part of them?
We have engaged them, and they have seen the effects of our interventions, the effects of government intervention. With the culvert crossings, there is no flooding. Without flooding, they are not losing their items of trade, which are the flowers. So they now understand that we have to give way to the water, because there are also side drains.
Yes.
We have to allow for the side drains to feed into the primary drain. So they have gone off the road to allow us have a side drain, and they have extended inside. Now, once we have these side drains and they can no longer face the floods, then they're in a more amiable and in a better working space.
And I'm grateful that as KCCA, but also as government, that workspace was one of the things that I really was concerned, because a person to come from Kansanga to Bunga, you had to literally walk on the road to be able to access that place, and it was very dangerous.
That is one of the solutions we are having there. And as we speak, we have closed off that road. We thank God that the rains have ceased a little bit. We thank you for your prayers and the public out there. The rains have ceased, and we are taking the opportunity of the sun to make sure that we work on the tarmac as well, surface the road now, because we are closing off this road from 9 a.m. While we are closing off at 9 a.m. to allow the early morning traffic, and then we reopen at 4 p.m. also to allow the evening traffic. So during the day, for the next 3 days, we are going to ensure that that point is worked upon and well tarmacked. So people who are using that route, we advise that you use the Rukuri Road and the expressway, especially at around this time, until 4 p.m. when we open it. But it's going to be well tarmacked. It's a stretch of about 100 meters that covers the culvert crossings. We're working on that. Drainage still, we have worked at the point of Auto Spa, and we are completing where we had the Fusion Hotel and Auto Spa. At that point, we also had a lot of flooding. We had a comrade, a fellow citizen, who had built a furniture store right on the drain. Then we had Fusion Auto Spa, also a developer, who had blocked water from getting into the swamp right ahead near the National Water Swamp.
Yes. That
has papyrus also that filters the runoff before it enters the lake. Now we have engaged these persons, these developers, and we have removed those irregular developments and are continuing to remove the other irregular developments upstream, and we have cut through Auto Spa. I think we put that on social media, and the public saw what we are doing there. So we are having about 3 box culvert crossings and raised the road. So that solution is supposed to help us with the drainage in that area for probably another 30 years.
And I'm grateful, especially because now we get to talk about the work you're doing. Not the whole public knows exactly what KCCA is doing to make sure that this goes well, but also it's for posterity. It's not just for the NAM conferences.
Now, this is for posterity, and to ensure that all the works we're doing, we have supervising consultants there. We have hired a supervising consultant, we have internal project managers, we have our own engineers overseeing. So at the end of the day, we hope to achieve quality. And all the roads that we are working upon, we're ensuring that they're well supervised, they have the drainages, and they would live. And they will serve us for another 20, 30 years. Maybe if you allow me.
Before you get to that, Daniel, the question I think that every Ugandan, and I'm glad you've spoken about it, you close the road at 9, open it at 4 p.m., you know, to allow early morning traffic, but also late evening. The biggest question I think every Ugandan has been asking, why don't you do these works at night? Why are they done during the day?
Now, we would love to do most of these works in the night, but there are some works that may not be done in the night fully. For example, if we are clearing the downstream of a drainage of people who have blocked, who have built structures that are blocking the drainage, you don't do that at night. You don't go to clear or to demolish what is blocking the drainage at night when people are sleeping. The public will think that you're using the cover of night. Because here we have people's livelihoods. We have people sleeping in these houses. We have people who have set up shops. We have people who have their animals in there. So you have to utilize the light of day such that everyone sees what exactly you are doing. But again, we're in an area where the rains have been pouring in the afternoon, sometimes the whole day, and this is convectional rainfall. You remember convectional rainfall?
Yes.
Yeah? There is relief rainfall on the hills, and then there is convectional rainfall near the lake shores. So most of our rains have been from the afternoon into the night. So that has been cutting out the possibility of working in the night. Now, when we have the sun, if we can utilize the sunlight, it helps to dry better. You have full visibility. We use that period to do the works.
Interesting. And I'm glad that has been explained, because I think the inconvenience that we feel moving on these roads, well, like, why aren't they done at night? Why are they done during the day? But also,
and,
yes.
I appeal to the public. You see, when you want a good meal served at the table, the chef who is bringing that meal to the table has to feel the fire in the kitchen. Sometimes they may cut themselves, sometimes they may get burned, but at the end of the day, it's a good meal that matters. When you want to cure of malaria, when we were in COVID, we had to take a jab. So this is the pinch that we have to withstand, to endure as citizens.
Yes.
For us to have something good. Yes, we have inconvenienced you, but this is the time for you to get inconvenienced such that tomorrow you'll have a beautiful road.
So this
is the injection now.
These are our labor pains before we get
these are our labor pains.
Before we get the
This is the injection, this is the labor pain, this is the kitchen fire.
And before we get happy. Now, let me come to road expansion.
Yes.
When you look at especially, and I like to focus on that area because Kansanga, Bunga, Gaba has massive traffic jam.
Yes.
Especially peak hours, morning, evening. Are there any plans for expansion, especially to be able to allow the number of people to move freely, whatever time of the day? Is that envisaged in the infrastructure plan towards NAM and the G77?
Now, there are some works that are within our plan and scope. we have roads that shall reduce the traffic on Ugaba Road. Once we work on Salama Road, which works have already started, and these are financed by money from the African Development Bank, that traffic shall be lessened. Once we do the proper development by the road, allow for walkways, the traffic shall reduce. Once we deal with the drainage challenges, because remember at Soyabunga, that would hold up traffic for over 15 minutes. People trying to navigate the potholes that were there. A good example is Mkwano. Mkwano, the traffic there was a traffic hold up of about 14 minutes. A hold up of 14 minutes. We have worked on the drainage there. We have worked on the road. Yes, we are surfacing. I'm going to give you the progress of the works as we get to now. But we have worked on the surface. We have laid a new base on the road, and we have cleared the drainage. Now the traffic at Mkwano roundabout is under 2 minutes at peak hours. That reduction, that 12-minute reduction, is reflected at other junctions, and the total traffic flow.
And I'm hoping that also that improves productivity.
Now, that improves productivity, and it goes into the question of, do we need to expand the road? We don't have enough vehicles to call for road expansion, but we need a smooth ride to allow for free flow of traffic. Right now, the road of Lukuri is helping us a lot, because now that we have blocked Soya, traffic is going through Lukuri. Now imagine now that Lukuri is available, we have these other feeding roads. For example, Prince Badru Kakunguru, we have the Lukuri link through Kansanga, we have the link through Nsambya, all of which are tarmacked. And we have another link at Bunga that links to, that is called Lukuri link, that links to Lukuri Road. With all those feeders tarmacked, the traffic will flow smoothly, and I'm sure out of NAM, one of the biggest benefits shall be a limited time on the road and a smoother ride on our roads there.
I really like the element of not really expanding, but reducing time lag there, also turnaround time for people to be able to reduce the time, and you're giving options. There's this option, you can be able to get to this destination in this time, and I'm glad that whole area, Salama Road, Lukuli Road, will improve the whole area in the southern of that city there. But I also wanted to look at something else. You talked about Mokwano.
Yes.
The feeder roads out of Mokwano. What is the plan for them? And what is KCCA going to benefit from NAM and G77 minus just infrastructure?
Now, I would request to update the people also.
Please do that update. Then we'll talk about.
Then we talk about the benefits of NAM, because these are very huge. Some of the roads we are working on, I've talked of the drainages, but now the roads. We are working on Mkwano Road. Mkwano Road is going to be tarmacked, and as we speak, we are at 59%. Remember, our timeline is December 30th. By December 30th now, we made a shift of this timeline because of the rains. Now by December 30th, we shall have finished a full tarmacking of that stretch. Now, off Mkwano, we have that road that goes through to Chibuli. It's called Press House Road.
Yes.
Press House Road is now at 79%. We are tarmacking that road, and we are working on the drainage. A good drainage saves a road. And we are working on lighting as well. When we look at Prince Badru Kakunguru, that is off the Soya-Bunga stretch. From Bunga, before you get to Munyonyo, there is a linking route there. It's called Prince Badru Kakunguru. It links to Lukuri.
Yes.
Yes. There we are at 87%. We have done most of the work. It's a smooth ride, but we're working on the drainages. We have Mobutu Road. Mobutu Road is in Makindye and leads to Latitude Hotel. There we're working on the
through the lights and goes up.
Goes through the lights. There is Latitude, a beautiful hotel up there where we shall have guests. Some of the guests are going to sleep there. We're upgrading it to tarmac. And there we're at about 40%. Now 40% in infrastructure, we are looking at the cost of the road. There are items that are of high cost, like laying the asphalt and tarmac. Those laying the asphalt or tarmac, that is a high cost activity. So even if we're at 40% now, we believe that within the next 1 week, we shall have risen to about 80% because of the cost of the remaining works. Then we have Gaba Road, that is in Sambia Bunga. That stretch, Sambia to Bunga, we're at about 50%. And you have also seen the drainage that we're working on. While we're doing culvert drainages in some of these areas, is to allow for more space for pedestrian traffic. We are avoiding the open drainage, because with an open drainage, you cannot walk in it. But with a culvert drainage at the side of the road, on top, we can have a walkway. That serves as an opportunity to expand the road by creating space for pedestrians.
And you've spoken about the Mkwano Road.
Yes.
It also has factories on the right-hand side as you're heading towards...
yes.
So what's the plan? How do we manage the traffic flow between the private motorists and heavy trucks like that? Will the infrastructure there be able to, and you're not seeing gullies or bumps within it like we see along Boyogere going down that side? How are you going to manage both the heavy trucks but also the private users?
That goes down to the quality and the base of the road. All that is being put into account as these roads are being designed, as these interventions are being made, to ensure that they are fit for purpose, and not just short-term purpose, but they're fit for long-term purpose, because we want to work on something and then we have an opportunity to go also to other divisions and raise the works there.
Allow me to run to something that really we put a pause on infrastructure. I want to be able to touch garbage benefit, but let's start with garbage, because how are you helping onboard the 4.5 million Ugandans that are here during the day and 1.5 that are here during the, on garbage? Because the drainage you're doing is amazing. You're doing heavy duty drainage, but the garbage we're throwing in these drainages and silt that is coming through, how are you bringing Ugandans on board, the people in Kampala, but also how are you helping with the garbage management?
Now, about 2 weeks ago, we might have had a challenge of garbage in the city, and we acknowledge that. But this was because of the heavy rains that affected the dumping of garbage at the landfill in Chitezi. Chitezi is a landfill that is located out of Kawempe division. Whereas it is in Wakiso, it is KCCA land. And we are responsible for that site. It was a 35-acre piece of land. Now it was expanded by another 4 acres, which also serve as a landfill. Now, to improve or to have garbage sorted there, the garbage problem sorted in Kampala, we needed to improve the road, the main access road, into the garbage field, into the landfill, to an all-weather road. But also, the rains had spoiled the road within, the access routes within the landfill. Now, remember, a landfill, the way we have been managing garbage here is by utilizing a landfill. You keep piling, we are keeping on piling garbage. So the surface of the roads within were porous and weak. So with the heavy rains, the access routes within the landfill got spoiled. So we had nowhere to dump the garbage because no one expected such rains in the first place. However, when we are working on, and we have started on this and are going to continue improving the main access route to be an all-weather road, but also work on the internal and the other routes within. Because once the garbage truck comes, it has to move to the last point.
Yes.
Where to dump, or to a point of dumping. And we make sure that as garbage trucks come in from the city, as they deal with the garbage within the city, that garbage has a final disposal point. This is for the medium term. As KCCA, we are working on a waste to energy project. We are going to have a waste to energy project in the long run, where all garbage that is collected is utilized, and we have energy out of it. We have other products except plastics out of the sorted plastics, sorted kavera, sorted plastics, that is recycled into other materials. We can have manure out of there. The metal can go to the steel industry, such that we get something out of this garbage. Whatever has decomposed, we make energy out of that and put that power probably on the grid. That is the longer term. But for now, we have improved and we continue to improve the main access and the routes within. That shall solve the garbage issue in the city. Now, each property owner ought to have garbage bins at the entrance of their structures. This helps in proper disposal of rubbish, other than disposing this rubbish into the drainages. Because once you dispose the rubbish into the drainages, it will block the runoff once it rains. And once it blocks the runoff, that water will get onto the road and damage the road. So if you're out there and you're dumping a bottle of mineral water, of drinkable water, you're dumping your kavera in the drainage, you're moving in a V8. There are people who move in V8s in this city, in Mercedes, in very powerful cars, but they are dumping garbage out of the windows. If you're doing that, then you're responsible for the flooding in the city.
And that's where I want us to get to, because how much sensitization have you made? Because as NAM and G77, we can't predict the weather that will be there in January. Yes. It could be rains in that season. But markets, the markets you're talking about, the 16 you're managing, people are throwing peelings, the residues into these drainages. How are you bringing the public on board for personal responsibility to ensure that these twin summits go well?
We continue to engage the public through the fourth estate, through the leadership, the leaders of Kampala. We sensitize them. We have programs on the radios, on TVs, where our public health teams come out and teach about proper disposal of garbage. But even beyond, now, as KCCA, during this period, we're also going to provide garbage bins, over 500 of them, where people can dispose their rubbish, but most importantly, the last point, the last mile of the garbage. Once we have sorted that, like we have now, then most of the garbage within the city has where to go. Chitezi now can accommodate over 1,000 tons per day. This city produces over 1,500 tons. Some of it disappears within, but we're raising our capacity. And at the moment, we can ably handle over 1,000 tons, and this shall continue because we continue to progress.
I'm looking for a person, okay, people in upscale, I can afford a dustbin, put it in, be able to pay the money for the garbage companies to be able to take. But me, a low income earner, you are border, I have my border. How do I manage my waste well? So that just like the man who was cleaning and they asked him, what are you doing? He said, I'm sending a man to the moon. How do we get to personal responsibility and saying, I'm making my contribution to these two summits?
Well, a border person is not a poor person.
I'm saying humble.
He's not even, okay, he's a humbler member of society. And we also have even much humbler people. And in those much humbler communities, we collect garbage for free in 277 villages within Kampala. But as an individual, if you're riding a border and you drop a kavera and you drop a bottle, that bottle you have dropped shall block that road or shall block the runoff, which will cause flooding and you'll not be able to cross. So you need to take individual responsibility, because if we have 50,000 borders in Kampala and each of them drinks water at any one point and each of them drops
that bottle of water
irresponsibly, they will have no jobs. So to save your job as a border rider, dispose of this rubbish correctly. If you are at a stage, instead of eating all this welfare money you collect amongst yourselves, you can have a dustbin at your stage, because this is your place of work. If you're property owner, this is where you're getting money from rent. Let us have that garbage bin there. If you are like me, a wananchi, and you're walking along the road, if you drop a kavera, you will not find that walkway there, because water does not pass through Muvera. And once that water is blocked in the drainages and comes on the road, you will spend money for you to be carried across that water. Fortunately, we have worked out drainages in such a way and improved them in such a way that the flooding, which was taking over 30 minutes before, will now disappear in 5 minutes. But those are 5 minutes of damage on the road. Those are 5 minutes of your time wasted if you are to cross in peace. So it is individual responsibility, and we must make sure it is a part of us.
Yes. Daniel, how is KCCA, how are your people in these constituencies of the 5 divisions going to benefit from these twin summits? Because this could be you as government, you as an MDA, you're the people talking. It doesn't reach home, it doesn't reach my doorstep. How do they align themselves to benefit?
Everyone in this country is going to benefit from these 2 summits, the non-aligned movement and the G77. Why? There's no food that is going to come into this country from outside. All the food these people are going to eat is from here. So the people in the markets must maintain cleanliness so that the hotels that are going to host guests can buy from them. Our hotel industry, our tourism industry is going to make money. We have over 120 presidents. 120 presidents coming here, and each of them has a delegation. They will need where to sleep. So our hotels are going to make money. The people working in those hotels are going to be sure of salary. The tourism industry is going to benefit, because, like I will appeal to the public later, once these people come, once these guests come, they are not going to stop in Kampala, or they will not stop at the summits. They will want to come back. This is one of the countries where if you have come here, and if you're on Twitter and you have foreign friends, tell them that it will be difficult for anyone to go to heaven if they have not come to Uganda. Eh? It will be very, very difficult. So whoever comes here will have to come again and tour this beautiful country. The tour industry, the guides, the transporters, the people who will sell fuel to the transporters, the people who sell food in these tourism destinations, the people who are making souvenirs are all going to benefit from this. The people who are constructing the summit centers, the roads, once NAM is done on 23rd or 25th, because we shall also have up to 25th, the G77, and the speakers' conferences after. Once they are finished, the drainage crossing at Otospa will remain with us.
And that's very interesting because the
crossing at Soya is going to remain with us. The roads that we are constructing are going to remain where? None of the delegates is going to go out with a road. So we are going to have a smooth ride in all these areas where we have worked. We are going to have sorted the drainage challenge. We shall have resources available to work on other divisions.
Interesting. You spoke of tourism, even as we draw towards the tail end of this. You spoke of tourism. What is there to see in Kampala that these delegates that we're going to have, what are those physical features that when I am there and I'm watching, what should I be looking forward to?
Even before we go to the physical features, we have Emma here. There is no one like you in this world. The smile of a Ugandan. You smile. It is very rare to find such happiness in the world. We, the people of Uganda, are the biggest attraction in this part of Africa. The way we welcome people. And I appeal to the public to welcome these people. Let us not cheat the tourists. If you're a border rider, charge a good fare. But we have monuments. We have the Independence Monument. We have the markets. We have one of the largest fruit markets, Nakasero. Did you know that? Eh? We have the City Hall. Eh? Do you know that there is, from City Hall, there is a straight line into the railway gate?
From City Hall? From
City Hall. There is a straight path into the railway gate. In there you will see all the mayors from the 1940s. We have the street. We have the wildlife street. We have the mosque. Gaddafi Mosque. We have the center of one of the most important cultural sites in Africa. We have the
Kasubi Tombs.
The Kasubi Tombs. We have where the king sits. We have the Royal Mile. It's a beautiful place, where we have all the totems of the clans of Buganda. And Buganda is a very spectacular kingdom in the history of Africa and the world. This is where we had one of the first surgeries in the world.
Interesting.
The organization of the Buganda kingdom and the other kingdoms around. It is peculiar to Uganda. The 7 hills, the nightlife of Uganda. We have one of the most vibrant nightlives in Africa. So there is a lot. The beauty of our people, it is amazing. There is everything to see in Kampala, and there is everything for us to showcase in this lovely city.
You speak of the nightlife, but we also speak of the noise pollution. One of the things our guests would not really appreciate. Our nightlife is loud, but also our weird morning hours are also loud. For religious institutions, on top of that, decibels of noise. What are you going to do about that, especially because they'll be still suffering from the time differences from wherever they'll be coming from? How are you going to manage that?
We are engaging. We have put out a notice and we are engaging. You know, there is an association. You know, there is an association of bar owners.
Interesting.
There are associations and they have association heads. We are engaging the religious leaders We are engaging the various construction sites. We are engaging homes, individuals who may be raising the level of noise to contain this noise. And containing this noise is not just for the conference, but also for the health of your neighbors. If you're a church and your music, your worship apparatus is way high up there, the people next to you will detest and resist you because they cannot sleep. So we're engaging a number of churches that engage your community, know your community, have pastoral visits in the community. They will tell you their challenges, because there's no reason why you should play the drums so high when you have not visited a sick person in the neighborhood. They will let you know of the challenges and you coexist. Otherwise, we shall have the churches empty and the discotheques full.
Lastly, before I give you an opportunity to give your parting shots, traffic management.
Yes.
These are the biggest summits after CHOGM that are coming to the country. We are hosting thousands of people here, dignitaries, and also there are overflows that will be coming with them. How is traffic going to be managed? It will be a busy season, business will be back, people will be trying to get ends meet because school will be starting in February around that time. How are you going to manage traffic in those areas to ensure that we're not frustrated as Ugandans, we appreciate the summits, but also we are hospitable to our guests?
One, completion of the infrastructure interventions, because there are some main roads that will not be accessible. So it is important for us, and what we are doing is to complete the other service routes on time. That is number one. Alternative routes. Then we are working with the Uganda Police Force, especially traffic. They will take lead on this because they are better placed to manage traffic. And I'm sure as a country, as a city, and the police force, we have confidence that they will lead us into the best way to flow traffic. Our biggest intervention here is ensuring that the road time is not hampered by infrastructure glitches. We deal with the potholes, we have sufficient walkways, the subsidiary routes are all worked upon such that we have a smooth flow, not to interrupt or interfere with our routine life, but also to ensure we have the glamour and the dignity that deserves the dignitaries that will be visiting us.
Thank you very much. And I think we'll be having those people come through the police to be able to explain that. But Daniel, I've really enjoyed my time with you, but as time does, it's no friend to anyone. Your parting shots before we leave today.
Well, some of my parting shots, I've noted them here. Let us have responsible garbage disposal. Let us paint our structures, pave our frontages, and green them. When you paint, that paint will give your structure a better outlook. It will be more attractive to your tenants. It will be better looking to the environment. When you pave your frontage, you will reduce your costs of cleaning the building, but you will also reduce the dirt that goes onto the road. When you green, the people within your building are at lesser risk of rodents like rats, and mice and mosquitoes, but also it gives a beautiful view to the city. Let us put lights on our buildings. Let us light up. If you have managed to put up a structure of £1 million shillings, what is £1 million shillings for a light on your building? And it gives you a longer working time to your tenants. They are more secure. So let us put lights on our buildings, as also KCCA puts up lights. Let us welcome, let us brace ourselves. Let us put all our differences as a country aside. Our political differences, our cultural differences, our social differences, let's put them aside. We are now one team. We are Team Uganda. The very way we support the Uganda Cranes while they're on that football pitch, it is now the technical team that is on the football pitch. But even you citizens of Uganda, you have a role to play. Welcome and showcase your country. Let us show the world. Let us show the world that this is a part of Africa. And let us show the world that this is Kampala. Let these people come back here.
Thank you very
Let's
much.
give them a reason to come back to Uganda, to come back to Kampala.
Thank you very much. That was Daniel Muhumza Nwawine, who is the lead public relations for the NAM and the G77 at the KCCA task force. He's also in charge of managing research and business analysis at KCCA. You have had the perspective of what KCCA is doing, both on the part of the infrastructure, the drainage and the garbage management, but also we have personal responsibility on the part of garbage to make sure that that bottle you throw out can cause drainage or blockage somewhere else. Now, as a country, let's put away our differences, even as these summits come. Maybe this is the turning point where we come from being sole to pole to improve our country. This special of the NAM and the G77 will continue to bring you updates in the different areas. We look forward to giving you what traffic will look like then. We look forward to give you what security will look like, foreign services, the internal affairs of the country. So keep watch. Between 2 and 3, we'll be giving you everything that happens there. My name is Timothy Nyangweso, and for this special, have a good afternoon.